Welcome to the garden. Today I'm doing some maintenance on the flower garden, moving some taller plants a little bit further back and then replacing them with ground cover in the front row. Some of this will be to tidy up towards the end of summer into autumn, but a lot of this is getting ready for next spring. The first thing I'm going to do to transplant this echinacea is just to clear out the ground cover around it. That way we can cover it back up once we're done. So now we can kind of come in at the edge and we won't damage quite so much of that ground cover. We're just going to be uprooting that echinacea. We will be lifting up some of that ground cover, but we can pick those out and then replant them here in the front. Besides the echinacea, we've also got some of these blackberry lilies. Really distinctive foliage, like big spears. They're very broad on this side and then very thin on the edge. You can really see why they get the name blackberry lily. Look at those seeds, they're just spectacular. They do really look like blackberries, but you can see they're actually individual little berries. They're not all one big fruit like a blackberry. I'm going to save some of these, but a lot of them are actually just going to go back in the garden. I can just scatter them around towards the back and they might actually sprout next spring. Before I move this, I want to try and remove these blue bugle. These are such a beautiful ground cover. They have those wonderful purplish blue flowers in spring. But that's a really healthy looking blackberry lily. So let's grab its little buddy up here too. There's actually a couple plants here. And if we have to take these flowers with it, then let's do that. I'm going to transplant one more group of these blackberry lilies. The one that we just planted is a lot further back. So that's about where I want them. So pretty much this entire group is going to have to move. Okay, this is just wild. I was looking for a spot to put our new echinacea, but look at this, there's a snake hanging from the top of this one. They're like 4 feet off of the ground. Oh my god, look at that! Oh, this is crazy. Look at them all! Look at them all! Oh my gosh! Look at this! What is going on with these snakes? They spotted me. Oh my god, there they go! Oh, that was crazy. I wonder if they're mating. They might be mating. Ready? They're just going crazy. Look at this. Oh, here they're coming back. I'm like, where are you? Where are you? Look at this. Look at these little guys. See, they're completely harmless. Oh, this is so crazy. They're just everywhere. Oh, this is so wild. Now this is what concerns me. Look at what else we've got in the garden. Wow. These things are crazy. You don't see them very often, but when you do, it's really scary because they're huge. These things are massive. They create these really elaborate webs too. It's that classic spider web shape. But I want to try and leave this guy alone. because they really freak me out. Oh, it's a monster of a spider. I'm gonna have to look these ones up. I remember seeing one of these as a kid and it just freaked me out. They're actually quite beautiful, but they're very large. Let me just get my hand kind of behind him for some scale. And you can see that is a beast. And goodness me, there's snakes all over the place. This is crazy out here. I love it. Probably not so cool if you don't like snakes and spiders, but I love them. This is awesome. So we've got one of our blackberry lilies right here. I've got another one in this really kind of nice little empty spot right in the center. So that was a lucky find. And we've got another one right next door. I could probably squeeze a couple more in here too. And then one over here. So I'm going to finish up with the last couple plants and then we'll look for a nice spot for those echinacea. There are some patches of blue bugle we'll need to fill in. So there's an empty spot here and here. And then there's a really big bare patch right at the end where it gets really, really sunny. Some of the blue bugle overhang into the gutter of the street. So these we can actually cut back too, all the way to the fence. You can see how they emanate from this main vine. And they'll actually set down roots and become brand new plants. So we'll get them in the soil and they're going to do really well to fill in. I'm going to make sure to water in our blue bugle a few times a day for the next week. But you can see we've got a nice line of them here. They're really quite thick. Some areas are just super lush. Look at that. This is why they call them carpet weed. They're just stunning. And there's only a couple little weeds, and they really stand out, so they're easy to pull. I even let a couple marigold flowers sprout here. So this looks nice and clean towards the end of summer into autumn, but I've really done this for next spring. These are going to bloom in an incredible row of bluish purple flowers. We have so many echinacea, I think I might move them to a different area. Maybe out in the vegetable garden. Here's the bare echinacea root. And this root is used to make an immune boosting tea, along with the leaves and the flowers. You can see it's quite a hardy root, like a carrot. And this is a first-year plant. This was just a volunteer from seed. So an older plant is going to have much larger roots. So I've decided to put some of these in the vegetable garden. Trying to find a few sunny patches that are kind of out of the way. So there's a spot over here by my horseradish, and there's another spot down here by this tree stump. So I'll dig down about 5 or 6 inches if I can, and then we'll try and bury them right about up to here, covering up these little nodes. Those are actually underground. And then those little nubs, I think are going to be next year's sprouts, because it's pretty late in the season. But these roots will survive the winter, and then they'll come back in spring with these big, broad, dense leaves. But they soon shoot up about 4 or 5 feet tall and start producing those beautiful pink blooms. So now everything tall, like our echinacea and our blackberry lilies, are set back quite a bit. And this front row is nothing but blue bugle. I do still let a few annual flowers here, but the perennials are always going to be set back. But I hope you all enjoyed this wild update on our flower garden. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.